Hey Pokey, where are you?
I had gone to see Meg. She's being visited by spirits.
What is that supposed to mean?
She says her brother who lives in New York is conspiring against her on planning to build a bomb. He watches her through hidden cameras.
Interesting. And how is that related to the spirit world?
Well, how else do you explain it, Dawn? It's either the spirits or black magic.
It can be a mental disorder. And they call me a donkey, ha ha ha.
We have heard of such stories often. Sometimes some people feel that they are being followed or harassed or being traumatized. At others, they appear to be talking or responding to some unseen entities. And even though we want to believe it's because of something incomprehensible or evil, or the person is lying or manipulating facts, more often than not, a particular type of doctor is able to understand and treat it. And that's not your exorcist or faith healer, but your friendly neighborhood Paglunga doctor. Yes, a label we psychiatrists are not apologetic about, except when it comes in the way of people with less strange problems like anxiety and depression from reaching out. That's neurosis for you, but today we are going to look at another aspect of mind. Hi, I'm Dr. Jyoti Kapoor, and we are at Manasthili, where mind meets matter, exploring the distorted reality of the landscape of psychosis. Psychosis is the very thing that links words like psycho, psychiatrist, psychology. And let's accept it, guys. This is exactly what we are interested in, as well as afraid of. Psychosis is the thing that reveals the complete derangement of the psyche, the mysterious aspect of mind that makes us think rationally, act reasonably, and feel appropriately. Let's look at the root word first, psyche. The dictionary tells us that it is borrowed from Latin psyche, itself a borrowing from ancient Greek psych or soul. Pardon my pronunciation, but soul is what we are talking about here. Sometimes back in 16th century, we borrowed the word psyche directly from Greek and English. In Greek mythology, Psyche was a beautiful princess who fell in love with Eros, god of love, and went through terrible trials before being allowed to marry him. The story is often understood to be about the soul redeeming itself through love. To the Greek, psyche also means butterfly, which suggests how they imagined the soul. In English, psyche often sounds less spiritual than soul, less intellectual than mind, and more private than personality. Today, in psychology, psych or psyche represents the science of mind or soul, and so in order to define a concept, we pick the head and add a tail. So psychosis. Wiktionary talks about psychosis as below. From psych plus osis, or from ancient Greek, psychosis, animation, or principle of life. The word psychosis was introduced to the psychiatric literature in 1841 by Carl Friedrich Konstadt. He used it as a shorthand for psychic neurosis. At that time, neurosis meant any disease of the nervous system, and Konstadt was thus referring to what was considered a psychological manifestation of the brain disease. I am reading right out of the Wikipedia because my textbook says something very similar, but in a more technical manner. But there is more to psychosis than meets the eye. Early humans saw every human malady as the result of wrath of God or spirits, and something as incredible as hearing voices, seeing figures no one else could see, dropping all social inhibitions did seem like a work of evil. The medical teachings of the 4th century philosopher and physician Hippocrates proposed a natural rather than supernatural cause of human illness. In Hippocrates' work, the Hippocratic Corpus, a holistic explanation of health and disease was developed to include madness and other diseases of mind. Hippocrates writes, "Men ought to know that from the brain and from the brain only arise our pleasures, joys, laughter, and zests, as well as our sorrows, pains, griefs, and tears. Through it in particular, We think, we see, we hear, and distinguish the ugly from the beautiful, the bad from the good, the pleasant from the unpleasant. It is the same thing which makes us mad or delirious, inspires us with dread and fear, whether by night or by day, brings sleeplessness, inopportune mistakes, aimless anxieties, absent-mindedness, and acts that are contrary to habit. While the Western world grappled with the strange tales of psychosis, Ayurveda has defined insanity as unmad and identified as an illness to be treated. Suffice it to say that psychiatric disturbances have occurred since times immemorial, and while humanity has been trying to find the cause and cure of human physical condition, the mysterious mental process have baffled all for ages. Back to 21st century, the understanding, definition and treatment of psychotic disorders has made phenomenal advances, and therefore most sufferers don't have to go to asylums or brutal procedures depicted in Hollywood movies. There is a definitive criteria for diagnosis of psychosis and a treatment algorithm like any other physical condition. So let's understand it right away. Psychotic disorders are heterogeneous conditions with an underlying thought disturbance. In layman terms, a person suffering from psychosis has a distorted understanding of the world around, leading to delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, or abnormal behavior. Simply put, psychosis impairs one's relationship with reality. DSM-5 categorizes these under the heading of schizophrenia spectrum and the other psychotic disorders, while ICD-10 calls them schizophrenia, schizotypal, and delusional disorders. Academic technicalities aside, the basic criteria are same and have stood the test of time. Psychosis entails abnormalities in one or more of the 5 domains of mental function. Delusions: fixed beliefs that are not amenable to change in the light of conflicting evidence. Hallucinations: perceptions that occur without external symptoms like hearing voices when no one is talking. Disorganized thinking: inferred from the individual's speech, which may be disconnected, vague, hard to understand, etc. Grossly disorganized or abnormal motor behavior like restlessness, stillness, resistance to instruction, holding inappropriate or bizarre postures, etc. And last, negative symptoms: diminished emotional expression, reduced motivation or reactivity. Common conditions associated with psychosis are schizophrenia, schizophreniform disorders, acute and transient or brief psychotic disorder, delusional disorders, and schizotypal disorders. Psychotic symptoms are not exclusive to schizophrenia-like conditions. In fact, delusions and hallucinations are non-specific indicators of brain dysfunction, as seen in high fever states or delirium. But more persistent psychotic symptoms may also be present in certain other conditions, like bipolar affective disorder, depression with psychosis, substance-induced psychosis, micropsychotic episodes of borderline personality disorder, schizoaffective disorders, and schizo-obsessive disorders. Certain metabolic disturbances, drug side effects, or neurological conditions can also manifest as psychosis. These are often seen in alcohol withdrawal states, delirium, ICU psychosis, and other medical conditions. In fact, while schizophrenia affects 1 in 300 people worldwide, that is 0.32%, psychotic disorders have a lifetime prevalence of 3 in 100. What this means is that all psychosis is not schizophrenia.